There's something the world has gotten completely wrong about people who love being alone. We call them lonely, we pity them, we assume something is broken inside them. But the truth is so different, and it might fundamentally change how you see solitude forever. The people who crave isolation aren't running from others. They're actually running toward something most of us will never understand. They're running toward themselves. Psychology reveals something fascinating about solitude seekers. Their brains process the world differently. Where you might find peace in a crowded room full of familiar faces, they're experiencing sensory overload they can't quite explain. Every conversation, every glance, every unspoken social rule requires energy they're burning through faster than anyone realizes. And when they finally retreat into silence, they're not depressed. They're recovering. They're rewiring. They're coming back home. But here's what makes this even darker. Most people who love being alone have learned to hide it beautifully. They show up, they smile, they say the right things at dinner parties, then they go home and exhale for the first time all day. And in that exhale lives an entire world nobody sees. A world of deep thoughts, wild creativity, and emotional truths that only emerge in silence.
Psychologists have discovered something remarkable about these individuals. They're not antisocial, they're hypersocial in a different way. They crave connection that matters. They want conversations that go somewhere real, not small talk about weather and weekend plans. When most people are draining their social batteries on surface-level interactions, solitude seekers are sitting alone and feeling everything deeply. Every word spoken to them gets analyzed. Every interaction gets reflected upon. Their sensitivity to the world is like having the volume turned up to maximum, and silence is the only way to turn it down. This constant awareness, this relentless internal dialogue, it creates something extraordinary, but also something exhausting. They notice when people are lying. They catch the sadness in someone's smile. They see the patterns in conversations everyone else misses, and they can't unsee it. That awareness becomes both a gift and a curse they carry silently. Here's where it gets really painful. Society tells them something is wrong. Friends ask, "Why are you always alone? Don't you want to go out?" Family worries. Colleagues notice they eat lunch by themselves and assume they're struggling. But the real struggle isn't the solitude. The real struggle is pretending they don't need it while the world judges them for it.
What research actually shows is that these people aren't broken versions of social humans. They're a completely different kind of human. Their nervous system is wired to be more sensitive to stimulation. This is called sensory processing sensitivity, and it's not a weakness, it's an adaptation. Their brains are built to notice more, feel more, and think deeper. In a noisy world obsessed with constant connection, they're the ones who actually understand what real reflection means. But here's the thing nobody talks about. In their solitude lives a specific kind of magic. They're the artists creating work that moves us. They're the writers crafting stories that change perspectives. They're the thinkers developing ideas that reshape how we see reality. Some of the most influential, innovative minds in history were people who loved being alone, not despite their solitude, but because of it. The tragic part is the cost, the constant judgment, the exhausting performance of being more social than they naturally are. The guilt they feel for choosing solitude when everyone expects them to celebrate connection. The subtle shame that comes from being different in a society that worships the extroverted ideal. Yet in that loneliness sits an unexpected wisdom. These people understand themselves in ways most of us never will. They know their values, their boundaries, their truths. They're not running from life. They're running toward depth. And maybe, just maybe, in a world that's increasingly loud and fractured and fake, what these solitude seekers have discovered isn't a problem that needs fixing. It's an answer to a question the rest of us haven't learned to ask yet. The secret life of people who love being alone isn't actually secret anymore. It's just finally being understood.